It's a pleasure to talk to you all about this final installment because it's so exciting to see the story unfold. So for you, what was the most exciting thing to show to the public?
Awesomeness. I'm joking.
I think if I...
Well, hey. Pretty awesome, I must say.
I think if I said it would be a spoiler. I think it would be a spoiler. I'm most excited. See, I haven't seen the movie yet.
Oh, there you go.
So I see it tonight at the premiere, and I'm most excited to see the sort of final moments between. There's like this amazing sort of climax for my character's story arc, and I'm excited to see it because I practically killed myself doing it. So whenever you work really, really hard at a scene, it's always exciting to see if it was worth all the hard work, if it turned out or not. And you hope to God it did.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I think one of the biggest achievements is that the advance in technology, especially from when we were talking about the Lord of the Rings films, is so big, but the characters are not drowned in this at all. They keep shining.
Yeah,
it must be part of the joy for you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's part of Pete's kind of genius, you know. I mean, some of those shots to camera with the dragon and things, I mean, hardly anyone director-wise, I mean, does what he can do in terms of his visual and the way he thinks. I mean, you saw some of it in Kong, you know, when the ape comes around and just sweeps her off the ground. I mean, it's just getting the camera to do those things, and with CG and all the FX is like nearly impossible, but he has the vision for that. And then, you know, we're in this sort of, you know, we're in this Middle-earth world, which is sort of fantasy, but it's also kind of feels real. So we can't compete with the comic Marvel stuff, but we're not trying to. It's sort of our own thing. But it's funny when, you know, it's like you get Pete sort of getting me to sort of get on top of the back of an orc and go, all right, stick your sword in there and move it like a joystick and see which way you go, and you see it and you go, really, that's what happened? That's what I was doing? And it's kind of amazing, you know, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, that's true. Lilli, you get excited about those sets, obviously, you know, without giving much away. They look quite spectacular.
And I saw them for the first time last night because most of the work I did was on a green screen. I mean, my elk was a green screen for the most part. My
Did you get on a horse? You were on a horse.
There was a horse. Yeah, there was a horse I wore. I wore.
I wore him.
Yeah, you wore him well. Yeah, you did wear him well.
There's a horse I rode for some of the scenes, but some of the scenes it was a mechanical rig that I actually had better luck staying on top of the horse than I did on the mechanical rig. I fell off a few times, and I'd fall off, and then I hear Pete on the microphone. He liked that best.
Pete's all over this film.
All over the film. But it's a big battle. I mean, it's a battle of 5 armies, and the way he's orchestrated these 5 armies on such a massive scale, it's really, really extraordinary. You see his interest in, you know, the First World War kind of coming through in the way he's kind of done the strategy of the battle. You know? And his humor.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
Always.
And of course, it's not just about the Battle of the 5 Armies. There's a whole film that happens before the battle begins. So
the Love Triangle.
Well, and even Lake Town. I mean, we were left with that. It's all been cut out.
Yeah, it's mostly about the battle.
Forget about Lake Town. Nobody cares about the fate of Lake Town.
Who cares? Bit of Lake Town. It happens.
Who cares about what's going on with Gandalf and Galadriel? They'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the battle. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
Well, obviously, with the large amount of fan base that these films have, I've got some fan questions. So the first one was directed to you, Orlando, directly. If, you know, by now, do you feel very instinctive about this role, or do you still research him and prepare him more?
I was really nervous going into this, I remember. I was like, wow, because I hadn't done it in so long. I was like, I'm going to be too old for this. I'm too, like, just, you know.
We were all too old for it.
Yeah, I felt like I was too old for it. But yeah, of course, on one level, once we get going, and funny enough, there are some shots in the beginning of this movie which we shot on my first day. I feel like they were my first day, and I was like, oh yeah, that's some first day performance stuff there. But no, it's good. It's sort of bittersweet to see him go, and it's an amazing. But I think you always, because of the legacy of the movies that came before and the books that Tolkien wrote, the weight and the idea that there are fans out there that really love this world so immensely, I think that lands with all of us. You all feel like you have to kind of step up and shoulder that responsibility as an actor in these films.
Another question from the fans was to all of you, if you were ever allowed to keep anything from the set, and if you weren't, what would you have liked to?
I'm still batting for my white knives. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yes.
I haven't got them.
You should have those. You should have those.
Yeah.
I'm shocked you
Let's
don't
call
have
up Weather.
those.
They can get them for you.
Yeah, you need those white. I want your white knives.
Yeah, I know.
He had the best weapons in the film. Those white knives were the sexiest. They're the best.
Yeah.
I've kept my sword and I've kept some ears.
I have ears and my daggers and my leather pants.
You got your daggers. And
Yeah, I got my
Oh my God.
I've been holding them in the whole day because I didn't want to upset you.
We'll take my sword, your daggers. We'll go down to New Zealand
And get
So wait a
your
second, where did you get
daggers.
the leather pants?
I got my leather pants.
Wear them on a Saturday night.
I do, actually. That's what I
Yeah.
asked. I've worn them out to the nightclubs, and
No
the Tauriel
way.
leather is rocking.
Where did you get those
And I
pants,
kept a
babe?
moon rune. I mean, I kept a whole load of stuff I wanted. And of course, you always keep the back of your cast chair, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of momentous. He didn't get anything.
No, they're like,
He's not a diva, that's the
No,
problem. He
no.
should be more demanding on
yeah,
that.
you're right.
He is
Next
not a
trilogy.
diva. He is not.
Another question was about the physical preparation, obviously. What kind of physical preparation were we talking about? We'll start with Evangeline, who's kind of...
blood, sweat,
You know.
and tears, right?
God, yeah. When my son was 3 months old when I started working on the stunt training for this film, and I still had splayed hips. You know, I still couldn't even walk normally, let alone fight orcs normally. So whatever that looks like, normal orc fighting. But it was really challenging. I would just be in the warm up. I would in the warm up be told to do a lunge, and I physically could not lunge, or be told to stretch, and I physically could not move into those positions.
And
So
you were still feeding. You were still.
I was still breastfeeding. Yeah. So I still had all the beautiful estrogen pumping through my system. Zero. I mean, I was the least person in the world at that moment. I was all soft and my baby
And very loving, which I guess was the
yeah. So I mean, it was hard. It was the hardest stunt work I've ever had to do because I was really not in that headspace and nor in that body space.
Orlando?
What was the question again? I was
About
just
the physical
got lost
preparation.
in her estrogen for a minute. About what the physical preparation? Yeah, I mean it's a great way into the character actually because I think Legolas is such a physical kind of action elf, if you like, as they call him, and so for me, like to do all of that stuff, that at least all of the stuff that I could do was super important, and there's some really cool kind of moves that like I sort of really learned for the stunt stuff, like on my knees. It was a really hard thing to do, but like to do this knife, and you haven't seen it before really, but it's like you do this, you roll on your knees and turn and stuff. Anyway,
I saw that in the movie and I went, that was him. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was
very, very hard to do.
Yeah,
but kind of
very
cool.
hard to
So
do.
there are things like that so the physical preparation is kind of key.
Orlando is kind
Yeah.
of the king of stunts. Like he's good at everything
Yeah.
in the stunt world.
Thanks, Evie. That's
you
really
are.
sweet.
You are.
I mean, the fighting stuff really does help you get into the character in a way, because the elves are not human. They're not like us. They're different. They're kind of wilder and although my character is very still in the movie and kind of icy when the fight stuff
And then the fight
happens,
stuff
we
happens,
really
and he's sort
let
of
rip.
basically is the king of fighting. I mean, he's sort of like, he's the father figure. He just like the moves are so
he's a beast.
balletic
Beast.
and beautiful. He's a killer. He's a killing machine.
But
It's like-
he's still super calm, cool, and collected when he fights, which is the most
Yeah.
terrifying
We have some fun
thing.
scenes in this movie.
Yes.
Really, really
yes.
fun. I'm excited for you to see them.
Yeah, you really
Oh,
do.
I'm excited too.
You're going to be so
It's a
happy.
little
It
tense.
Yeah,
looks
you really-
awesome because I had such a good time seeing
Great.
it yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Stan.